Peace, family. Thank you guys for lending me your time and your energy. Sorry about my background music. My little one, she's up with me this morning. But the point of this webinar is to cover the FCRA and the procedures of the dispute process. Now, this is what Congress laid out. This is nothing that I came up with. It's nothing that the Bureau believes, nothing that we came up with. This is actually from Congress. So what I'm going to do is just pretty much go through the procedures. We're going to overcome some barriers. So when you think about barriers dealing with the FCRA, a few common barriers is typically their responses. It also may be them asking for more information. And it's important for us to know our rights within the FCRA, especially when you're disputing, because you actually have rights. So we're going to go through those points, and then I'm going to actually walk you guys through a common dispute procedure that I do based off of what Congress laid out for us. And I've added, a few extra things in there that I do that the FCRA doesn't mention, but we'll get into that when we get there. So let's go sit down. Barrier one, common responses. So the very first response every time we always get is need more verification. And it's super important for us to know that Congress never defined what verification is in the FCRA. The only thing that they state is that we are required, so they actually say shall, the consumer shall, in order to get any disclosed information. So that's your consumer file, that's the description of the procedure of the reinvestigation, that's all of this information. So in order to get this, Congress said that consumers are required to provide proper identification. Now, you know how Congress, usually when it's something that's super defined, or they're talking to a certain person, they go let you know. But with proper identification, they didn't define it. When you actually could click the definition of proper identification, it's literally just proper identification. So me personally, when I think about proper identification, I immediately think, okay, that's just my license, right? That means I shouldn't have to provide anything else. I mean, just really thinking about it. So also proper identification. I want you guys to take a moment to think about, so you have the right in the FCRA when you're disputing to receive your report without your social security number, or you have the right to mask out your social security number. You have the right to completely remove your social security number off of your consumer file. How do I know? Because I've done that. So it's important to know, if Congress saying that you don't even have to receive anything back with your social security number on it, what makes you think you have to send something in with your social security number on it? So we're going to cover, as we go through the dispute flow, we're actually going to cover what that verification looks like. How do we go about verifying ourselves? Okay, let's see, share my screen again. Another common response we get is waiting for the furnisher. Now, I don't know how many of you guys get this, but I used to get this all the time. I mean, I still get this, but now we're going to learn how to overcome that barrier. So one of the main things you have to understand is the FCRA give us two different dispute methods, or not really methods, but two different dispute routes to go. You can either dispute directly with the consumer reporting agency, or you can go directly to the furnisher themselves. But that's two different disputes. That's not the same. So the consumer reporting agencies, they're supposed to do their own investigation within 30 days. And then if you choose to dispute directly with the furnisher, they're supposed to do their own investigation within 30 days. That's what the law states. They're not supposed to work together. Yes, they do have a time frame. So Congress tell us that as soon as, go take it to that, as Congress tells us that as soon as a consumer submit their dispute and the consumer reporting agency receive it within the first 5 days, the consumer reporting agency has to let the furnisher know. So if they ever tell you, you need to reach out to the furnisher yourself, that's a violation of your rights. No, that's your job. If they ever tell you, hey, we're waiting for the furnisher to provide a response, and then once they respond, we would get back to you, that's a violation of your rights. That's two separate disputes. You have to wait for the furnisher, or they, the consumer reporting agency, have to wait for the furnisher to respond, not you. And they still have 30 days. We're about to talk about that now. So the next barrier as far as common responses is they will respond in 60 days or give us up to 60 days, or you will receive your response within the next 60 days. That's a violation of your rights because Congress only gave them 30 days to dispute. They only gave them 30 days to complete the dispute procedure. It's not 45 days. It's only 30 days. That information can be found 15 USC 1681I. Interested in knowing what that procedure is, I actually walk you through, I share my screen in our new capsule volume 2. I literally walk you through that full procedure and what that looks like. So just know when these crooks say they need more than 30 days, that's a violation of your rights. And the only way they can get an extra 15 days, and this is not even from them, this is literally from you, is if you send in more information within that first 30 days. So within the 30 days of them receiving your dispute, you have new and updated information, then only if they have not determined that account to be inaccurate, verified, or unverified, they must, then yes, they do get that extra 15 days. But that is the only way, the only way. Now, the next common barrier or response we get is verified. And we typically use the, whenever you're in the credit repair industry, a lot of us use proof of investigation. Well, that's not the correct terminology that Congress actually allow us to get that proof of investigation. So when they come back and say that, hey, this has been verified, your response needs to be pursuant to 15 USC 1681I. Send me the procedures. So send me the description of the procedures of the reinvestigation. That's what you need to say, because that's what Congress, those are the exact words of Congress. And you know what? You have 15 days to receive the information. So as soon as you get those results back, you got verified. Whatever, if you got 3 accounts that say verified, you need to go back, put for each of those 3 accounts, put the information for those accounts and say, send me the description of the procedure of the reinvestigation. Now, if you're completely new to this information, I always want to tell people what reinvestigation mean, especially when it comes down to disputing with these crooks. So reinvestigation, so initially, whenever you go and get a credit card, before that billing cycle, the consumer reporting agency, so before it actually posts on your credit, the consumer reporting agencies, they're supposed to do an initial investigation to determine the accuracy or completeness of this account. A lot of times they don't do that. So when you actually dispute, you are disputing to get a reinvestigation, because again, technically they were supposed to do an initial investigation at first. Also, if you see anything that say disputed accuracy, that's the same thing. You're disputing something that was technically supposed to be accurate from the jump. So now that we recognize that there are common responses that they usually send us, and now we know that majority of those responses are a violation of our rights. And actually, if you want more of those responses and the actual law to back you, our capsule value 1, I actually provide you with a full chart of common responses and how to get past those. So now we're going to discuss our second barrier, more information. And the reason why I made this a second barrier in itself, because we typically, this is the biggest of all the barriers. So when it comes down to more information, that's typically they're asking you for verification, for more verification of yourself, and for identity theft, or for more information regarding an identity theft that you submitted. When it comes down to verification of yourself, I'm just going to place some scenarios in your head so you guys can have a wow moment, like that do make sense. So when you're disputing, say you're disputing with all the consumer reporting agencies at the same time, and you sent in your social, your ID, and a billing statement, but you don't realize that billing statement you sent is only reporting on 2 consumer reporting agencies, let's say TransUnion and Equifax. It's not reporting on Experian, but you sent that billing statement in to Experian, and now up to 30 days later, you get a notification that you got a new account reporting on your consumer report. That's how they get us. Why should I have to send a billing statement in? Wouldn't that, if you're disputing a debt, sending a billing statement to me would make it seem like, no, this is your debt. You just sent me another debt. You just sent me something else and don't let it be the wrong billing statement that show a late payment, just something you trying to hurry up and grab to verify yourself. Like these things, these are ways that they are making us verify ourselves, but also putting us in a hole. So even with your address, they ask you for, they want the billing statement to provide proof of address. Well, I'm here to tell you from experience that your address does not have to be on your consumer report. It doesn't. It 100% doesn't. Now, you do have the right to tell them where you want to receive correspondences. That's your right. And we'll get into that, but you don't have to actually have your address. You can actually mask that information out. It's a violation of your privacy. So with them asking you for all these extra documents, you don't have to send that stuff in. And Congress even tells us, if a consumer does not have the more information that a consumer reporting agency is asking for, then that consumer is allowed to say, I don't have those documents. So, but as far as the verification go, you don't have to say that. Just send in your ID, your license. That's all you need. And I'll actually show you a method that I use, or I'll tell you guys a method that I use as we get to the dispute process. So they also typically ask us for more information when it comes down to identity theft. Now with identity theft, they'll typically say, you need a police report, you need the FTC affidavit of truth, you need all this other stuff. Again, I'm here to tell you, you don't. need all that information. You actually don't. Congress even tells us in 15 USC 1681G, Congress tells us that if a consumer does not have those documents, they're allowed to say that, but you have to say that. You can't just ignore them, because typically that's what we do whenever we file identity theft and they come back and say, you need all these documents, we just ignore them. No, respond back. This is what I have, and I don't have these other documents. And they are required to consider everything that you sent in. So even if you have some exhibits of the identity theft, even if you didn't do the FTC report, but Congress also gave us another example, which is why I strongly encourage you guys to go read 15 USC 1681G, where they mention identity theft. They give you different examples of what each of those documents look like and ones that you could actually use. For instance, for the FTC report, the FTC affidavit, you can actually do your own affidavit of truth. So do not let these crooks hold you back by telling you you need to send in more information, because by law, you have the right to say, I don't have those documents, or some of that information you don't even have to send in, such as your billing statements. You don't, that's setting you up. And also, think about it. If you ever sent in a billing statement and you had multiple addresses, and then you get that update saying you got a new address reporting because they got their billing statement, I'm telling you, it's a trap. It's a trap that they do to try to get, remember, the more they get reporting on your consumer report, the more they get paid. So now we are going to dive into our rights as a consumer. Now, this is so important because pursuant to the FCRA, we have tons and tons of rights. You can see a list of those rights, 15 USC 1681G, that's disclosures to consumers. That's a list of your rights. And it's long, so I strongly encourage you guys to read that whole entire list of rights. But I put out 4 of the main rights, especially when it comes to the disputing process. So the first one, all the information. So you have the right to all the information in your file, who is reporting on it, and who has obtained your report, 15 USC 1681GA. Now, actually, I put my own verbiage in there. So it actually states that you have the right to all the information in your file, the sources, and the recipient of the report, or report recipient. So what I did was I found the definition of those words and was able to give it to you like this. And actually, in 1681G, Congress do give a little more detail of what sources mean and what report recipient mean. So sources mean who is reporting on it. So any furnisher, once you receive your file, you're able to get the furnisher name and their contact information, and who has obtained your report. So not only are you able to get those furnisher information, but whoever pulled your report. If you apply for a car 2 months ago, you able to get the list of the person that pulled your report. When I say person, that's any natural person or organization. Right now, we're talking about furnishers. We're talking about debt collectors. So these are the persons that I'm referencing to. So you have a right to get all the information. I know that may be cliche. Well, of course, I know I can get my file, but you get to get everything in your file, all the information. So they can't send you a half file or send you 1 page of a file. No, they have to send you that full file, who is reporting on it, and who has obtained it. But you have to ask for that information. And it's important for us to know who's been pulling our reports and who's been and who's on our reports, because sometimes you can look at your consumer report and those, either they don't have the contact information, which is a violation of your rights, or that information isn't updated, or it's false information for a reason. They may have somebody else reporting on there, saying they may have somebody furnishing on there but it's not even the actual name of the person that's furnishing. So it's important to get that information. That is your right. Another one of your rights is you have the right to receive the communication in your direction or any method. That's 15 USC 1681 HB2. Now, what does that mean? That means that Congress made it to where a consumer can receive any correspondences from a consumer reporting agency regarding their dispute in their direction. So that means if you want to call them, if you want to go up there, go up to Experian, LexisNexis, CoreLogic. If you want it written, if you want to receive it electronically, and Congress said you can also receive your dispute communication through any way that consumer reporting agency allow you to. So if the consumer reporting agency has an electronic service, Experian app, and you want to receive all your responses through that app, you have the right to say that because that's something that they offer. If you want to receive it, like I said, over the phone, the only thing with over the phone, you have to do that in writing first. Let them know, hey, I want to receive my results over the phone at this number. You do have to write that in for them to call you, or however you set it up, because Congress didn't specifically say, it just said by phone. So you have all these different ways to receive your communication about your dispute. Electronically, you can set like different ways of electronically. You got your email. Again, you got these apps. You got the CFPB that's electronically. So you have the right to receive any of your information in your direction, because I don't know about you guys, but I've disputed before and they came back and said, well, I didn't receive it, but they'll say we sent it on this date, or the address you provided us with came back as a return. No, you didn't send it, or you probably violated me and realized it. So it's important to know, how can we receive these disputes? And when you think about timing, because we're going to talk about how important timing is when you're disputing. When you think about timing, I want to receive my stuff the fastest way I can, right? So our next right, dispute what's on your you have the right to dispute what's on your consumer file pursuant to 15 USC 1681I. You can also find this information at 15 USC 1681 HC1B3. I'm gonna share my screen so y'all can see that. So what does that mean? Now, I know that's cliche as well. Well, Kiki, I know I can dispute my information. I know I can dispute. Okay, but did you know that was a right? And it's not just you disputing. There's an actual procedure that Congress laid down for us. We're right here. There's actually a procedure, a dispute procedure that Congress laid out to us. So you not only have the right to dispute, but you have the right to dispute pursuant to 15 USC 1681I. And if you guys want to see what that looks like or get more clarity on that, our volume 2 capsule, again, I literally share my screen, walk you guys through that entire dispute procedure that Congress pretty much laid out for us. So then you also have the right to obtain your report in any method with ease. That's 15 USC 1681 HC1B4. Share my screen for that. Now, what does that look like? Or why is that important? So I don't know about you guys, but sometimes it is very hard for me to get my report from these consumer reporting agencies. And I know because they know that I know something fishy is going on. So they may tell me, we've sent it out. They may tell me we need more verification. They may have already been corresponding with me, but then I ask for an updated report and they'll tell me they forgot my dispute. So Congress wanted to make it super easy. They wanted, because these consumer reporting agencies, these are not government officials. These are not government appointed companies. These are not government made companies. Somebody decided, hey, I'm going to make a business where I put all consumer data. I'm gonna develop a relationship with Capital One. I'm gonna develop a relationship with Wells Fargo, and anything that they have on the consumer as far as their accounts, I'm gonna offer them so much to allow me make a report of that information. That's all it was. Somebody started a business furnishing data. That's all it was. So knowing that we don't know who these people are, we don't know who Experian is, we don't know who TransUnion or LexisNexis is. So Congress, like, if you guys are going to have this business, we have to protect our consumers. And with that, it has to be very easy for a consumer to access their consumer report from your agency, from your business, from Experian or LexisNexis, because you guys aren't a government operated organization. So anything that's reporting that a consumer see, that's a violation of their rights, they should be able to pull their report immediately with no stress at all. So if you've went to, because all these consumer reporting agencies, peep this, we already talked about whatever they offer, you're allowed to use. So if a consumer reporting agency say you can pull your free annual credit report at annualcreditreport.com, but then you get on there and you can't pull your report, that's not with ease. So only thing you have to do, take a screenshot of it, that error message, or you can't pull your report at this time, and file a complaint. That's all you have to do, file a complaint. Who you filing a complaint with? Let's discuss who the CFPB is, for those of you all that are new. So the CFPB is the only bureau. So the reason why I'm saying consumer reporting agencies or credit reporting agencies or CRA, because that's all they are. They're nothing more and nothing less. They're just an organization that report on consumer credit. That's it. So the CFPB is the only bureau, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And what they do is pretty much regulate. Regulate mean they monitor, they control, they anything dealing with consumers getting violated, they enforce. So they regulate all of the consumer reporting agencies, whether they are third parties or whether they say we're not a consumer reporting agency, they still are regulated by the CFPB. Now, I can say some of the ones that say we are not a consumer reporting agency typically are like resellers, or pretty much those that resell information. They don't technically create reports like Experian or LexisNexis. However, they do, they may do business with Experian, pulling information, like if you have a Capital One account furnishing on Experian, a reseller will pull that Capital One account and they start selling that information. They'll let other people know, hey, this person got a Capital One account. If you think about how you get all these offers, this is typically resellers just reselling your information, and they usually say, well, the FCRA doesn't apply to us, but it do. The FCRA actually talks about them. But I was saying that they sometimes are governed by, regulated by the FTC because of a lot of identity theft issues they deal with. So if you did do a complaint and it was about a consumer reporting agency that say that they're not a consumer reporting agency, it's forwarded over to the FTC, that's probably why. So the CFPB, they regulate these consumer reporting agencies, pretty much saying, hey, we find out you're violating the consumer, we're going to enforce on the consumer behalf. We're going to step in, or we're here for consumers that would like to file a complaint against you. So when you go to the CFPB, that's the cfpb.gov, You go there, you file a complaint about that, about not being able to access that consumer file. And you literally, your exhibit is that screenshot you took. You upload it, and that's it. That's all you do. So anytime, as we're going through the dispute procedure, anytime I tell you guys to file a complaint, because we're talking about the consumer reporting agencies, we know to file a complaint with the CFPB. Now, I'm going to share my screen again. Now we are entering into what we all came here for, the dispute procedure. So before we jump in, I want to let's talk about verifying ourselves, proper identification. Now, whenever this is my method, you guys are free to, use this procedure that Congress laid out for us, that I added a few things in, and tweak it, make it your own, whatever. Perfectly fine. How you actually go about the steps, it's up to you. But as far as verifying yourself, a very effective method that has helped me is using the CFPB to verify myself, because typically, you may send in this information and then the consumer reporting agency will come back and say, we need more information, or you're a credit repair company, we feel like this is someone acting on behalf of the consumer. How about I send my proper identification through the CFPB, and we'll let them determine if I'm frivolous or a consumer reporting agency. And literally, I just do a little statement. This is Akila Collins. I am, my daughter's sticking her head out. This is Akila Collins. I am, this is a statement verifying my identity along with my proper identification. Something simple like that. I upload it through the CFPB. I also make sure I tell them in that statement where I would like to receive correspondences, and any future correspondences from this day forward is from me. That's what I say every time. That's how I always start my disputes off. Then I go back. So after I've done that, I go and I start my actual dispute process. Now, you may want to do this after you sent your first dispute, which we're about to get into now. You may want to do this after you receive notification that they have received once you get that green receipt saying they've received your dispute, then you may want to do the identification part, verifying yourself. But however you do it, it's up to you. This is just a method that you can do that must be done before you receive any of this information. So you do need to have done this at the beginning stage, because remember, 15 USC 1681H tells us that in order for a consumer to receive anything provided in 15 USC 1681G, a consumer is required to send in proper identification. And we already talked about how you want to receive correspondences. So you want to make sure that that information is said up front. You want to make sure that you do provide the right address, or you do provide your telephone numbers and time of when you want to receive phone calls. So now remember, you have step one. You have the right to receive your full file, your sources, and report recipients, and a summary of your rights. Now, we've talked about the first three things. The reason why it's important for you to receive a summary of your rights is so you can hold them accountable. So when they send you the summary of your rights, and then you later on ask them for description of procedure of investigation of the reinvestigation, hey, Experian, you sent me this document saying this is a summary of my rights, and one of my rights includes receiving the description of procedure of reinvestigation. and I asked you for that and you didn't send it to me, that's how you hold them accountable. Using their words, you sent me this. I didn't come up out of this with thin air. You actually sent me this. So you want to, the very first thing you want to do is get that file disclosure. Everything you need from that file. Now, once you receive that file, your file is going to contain a file number. From this point forward, anything we do, we're going to use that file number. That's so important, because they will tell you that we lost your dispute, or we don't see this dispute in our system, but they've been talking to you for about 2 months now. Now you just magically don't see the dispute anymore. Okay, but what about this file number? I know you got that. So make sure anything from this point forward, once you receive it, you do your file number. If you don't receive it, you file a CFPB complaint, using it as an exhibit, using that green receipt as an exhibit, saying, hey, you received this on this date. It's 15 days in, I have not received my file. The very next step, which a lot of you guys may have already made it past these first couple of steps, because you got our first capsule where we showed you how to pull your consumer reports. So now you already got your report. Now it's time to your file. Now it's time to actually dispute that information. What's going on with this account? If you have late payments, you want to make sure, because the consumer reporting agencies are required to use all the relevant information that you send in to investigate this dispute or reinvestigate this dispute. So if you have late payments, your main thing with late payments, you have to be specific with these disputes. You can't just say, remove these late payments. They are unverifiable. What exhibits, what facts do you have for that? Because when they go and reinvestigate, they're getting facts. They're getting facts to prove that this information is verified. At least that's what their job is supposed to do. Go. So they're getting their facts to verify that this information is verified. You need to make sure that you are sending in the correct exhibits or saying the right verbiage. So if you have late payments, what are you typically looking for in late payments? You want to make sure that each late payment balance is the same, because if you've entered into a contract with someone or an agreement with someone, they initially tell you your late payment, if you default, your late payment is going to be 5% of the monthly payment. Okay, that's $3. So you telling me every late payment for sure is going to be $3. So if I go to Experian and I say I want the amount of each late payment and it's $3, $305, $301, those are violation of your rights. That's inaccurate reporting. So you want to make sure you are specific with your dispute. Now, once you send off that dispute, you have 30 days. All of this information, again, can be found at 15 USC 1681I. Again, I'll walk you guys through this in our capsule, our red pill capsule value 2. But you have 30 days to receive the results of your dispute. So within that 30 days, they have to do a whole procedure as far as contacting the furnisher, letting anybody know that has obtained your report within the last 12 months that you are disputing this information. They have to let everybody know that has some type of connection, whether it's a reseller, it doesn't matter who it is. They have to let everybody know that you are disputing this information. And it has to be done within 30 days. So after the 30 days, you wait for your responses. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to say, well, once the 30 days is up, how long do I give them to send me my responses? Okay. I want to be logical about this. And I'm gonna say it's up to your discretion. If you want to wait to 31 days and then say, hey, you guys didn't send me this information, that's up to you. But using logic and from experience of studying case studies, these crooks will challenge that time frame. So they may say, but it takes 5 to 7 days for a consumer to receive correspondences from us. So just to be on the safe side, and also just speaking from experience, because I've had a consumer reporting agency send me something certified mail before. And I know it's because I be on top of them with these dates, with these time frames. So I've had them send me something certified mail before. So just to make sure, and they could have been sending that just to make sure, hey, you received this within this amount of days of the dispute. We actually have to accommodate for the time frame that it takes the mail system to deliver it to you. So just to eliminate that, wait 5 to 7 days. Don't, because it may not work in your favor. And I'm just saying that because case studies, I'm just saying that because of the case studies. But just being logical about it, give it 5 to 7 days. So day 37, you haven't received none, file that complaint on day 38. Now you got proof. You got proof of when they received it, you got that green receipt, and you also got proof that it is day 38 and you haven't received anything. File a complaint. Now, this is the key about the complaints after you've done that first complaint. So wherever you are in your complaint process, if this is complaint number 1, then it's just a regular complaint. Now, if this is anything after, so complaint 2, complaint 3, you want to make sure you say you have new and updated information. Why? Because just submitting a complaint means that there's a whole different complaint going on. But if this is all one process, all one dispute, this is still the same complaint. Now it's just new information. It's updated information. So you don't want to be marked as a duplicate complaint, because if you send 2 of the same complaints, that is a duplicate. But if you send one complaint and then the other one is new and updated information, that's still the same complaint line. Now, I'm going to share my screen again. Go. Now, we on number 5 now. If anything comes back verified, so after you get your results, they come within the 30 days. If anything comes back verified, you have the right, pursuant to 15 U.S.C. 1681I, to request a description of procedure of reinvestigation. And they have 15 days to send you that. After you get that green receipt that they've received it, they have 15 days to come back and provide you with that description. So the main thing about the dispute procedure is understanding the only way you can get remedy or get the $1,000 payment from a consumer reporting agency is for them non-complying with federal law. Well, this dispute procedure, 15 U.S.C. 1681I, is a federal procedure. So we have to, in order for us to collect $1,000 for each violation, we have to know the procedure, know how the full procedure works. It's 30 days. If they come back verified, I have the right to ask for the description of the procedure, and I should receive that in 15 days. So we have to know each step of their procedure. So when we are trying to get them for non-complying, we have that proof. Oh, well, it took you 42 days to send me my results. The law said I have 30 days. It took you, I never received my description of procedure of reinvestigation. because they're going to always, I promise you, they're going to give you every single time. Every time you ask for the description of procedure in reinvestigation, they're going to come up with something. So that's why you make sure you use that file number on every document, on every correspondence, because they are going to come back with something. Why? Because they don't want you to know the description of procedure or reinvestigate. They don't want you to know that information. We'll get into that. So the very next thing, again, you waiting at 15 days, you waiting to receive that description. Now, if you don't receive it, you go file another complaint. Remember, new and updated information. Now, let's go back through. So you sent in your request for your file, sources and report recipient. They only send your file. That's one violation, non-compliance. You didn't send me the sources and you didn't send me the report recipients. You have to ask for that information though. Don't just assume they're going to send it to you. Ask for it. You didn't send me the summary of my rights, which they typically always send it. They gonna send the file and the summary of your rights, but they may not send the sources or the report recipients. Then, so that's one violation. Then you receive your dispute 45 days later, your results 45 days later. That's the second non-compliance with this federal procedure. Then you ask them to provide you with the description of procedure of reinvestigation. That's a third non-compliance because they didn't send it. It's been 20 days. They still ain't sent it to you. They sent you some other response. Any response that they send you that does not comply with what you asked for or the procedures of this investigation, you need to be using that as an exhibit to file another complaint, new and updated information. So now we've just got 3 different situations where they failed to comply with this federal procedure. We got the proof. That's $3,000 that they owe you. So then, once you file that last complaint, the next thing you go do is send your invoice with the proof of non-compliance. You go send it to them because they're the ones that's paying you. A lot of y'all, who pay me? The crook. The crook is the one that pay you, so that's who you send the invoice to. But you can't just send an invoice and expect them to pay you. You got to send the proof with it. Now, when you send this proof, you want to possibly upload this to the CFPB. Why? Because we still trying to hold them accountable. And now that we know that now that we actually got proof of the non-compliance, that just makes our case even stronger. So once you send that to them and send it through the CFPB, you wait to collect your check. That's it. Now, number 4, if they send you, because I know a lot of you guys, well, what if they send me the actual description of the procedures of the reinvestigation? Well, I guarantee you, if they send you the description of the procedure, so what that means is they have to lay out the full process that they did. So they had to tell you we contacted the furnisher within the 5 days. We actually contacted them on day 4. They have to literally describe to you the procedures because that's how you get them for non-compliance. Did you comply with federal law to fully reinvestigate this dispute? So they must give you that full timeline showing you this is what we did. We did this on this date. We did this on this date. We sent this out on this date. That's the description of the procedures they use to reinvestigate. And I guarantee you, if they send you that, you'll be able to challenge the fact that they are computer-based. Our goal is to get past the computer and get this in somebody's lap to make somebody actually go and investigate. Did you go knock on my neighbor door and interview them? Did you contact the furnisher? Did the furnisher send you all the relevant information regarding this account? Why is that important? Because the FCRA states that our information has to be accurate and complete. And when you look up the definition of accurate and complete, These are accounting definitions. And that means that the numbers must match. So those late payments, they must be on point. The numbers must match. That balance must match to the T. So you telling me you did a full reinvestigation. Okay, send me those details. Send me the details of those procedures. That's why they don't, because they can't. A lot of times it's Oscar that's doing the investigation for you. So they can't send you over the description of procedures because it was a computer that did it. And if they do send it over, then now you got proof to say you are an elaborate mechanism. I deserve a real, proper, fair, just reinvestigation of this dispute. And that is all I have. I appreciate you guys for lending me your time. I really hope that anybody that is, whether you are new to this information, old to this information, know your rights. Well, you know your rights now, but whether you study the law or not, I really hope you can utilize these steps to effectively dispute. Now you know the most common rights when it comes to disputing, and you should be able to use this information to hold these crooks accountable, to actually go through the dispute process. Again, I thank you guys. And one last thing, if you are interested in getting our capsule where I share screen with you, I'll walk you through 1681I. This capsule also has a dispute tracker provided in there. Why is that important? Because those time frames, I don't know about you, but I be needing to write down my time frames when I get my green receipt of them receiving my dispute. When they respond back to me, I be needing to write that stuff down. So this actual capsule comes with that dispute tracker to help you track all that information. So if you are interested in that capsule will be available. It's actually open for pre-sale on our website, www.thebarrelbullies.com. But it also will be released March 13th. So that's 313. That's actually tomorrow. So all of this information, I go into more in depth with it. But this is just an overview for anybody that just need to get their report cleared, or they've been mistreated by these consumer reporting agencies over the years, or they've been paying top dollars for a credit repair company to help them, not realizing, hey, we actually have time frames. My dispute should be done within 30 days. So now we know how to hold them accountable. We've overcame some barriers, some common barriers. We know how to come back with them with certain responses that they do. We know how to overcome responses. So before they even say it, we know how to get past that information. I really hope you guys are able to use this free webinar to change your life, and also share this information. If this worked for you, share it with somebody else, share it with everybody, because we all need to know at least the basics of the dispute process and when it comes to our credit reports. So with that being said, I love you guys and peace.